Now that the coronavirus pandemic has been brought under control with a more active vaccination rollout, it's no surprise that countries are finally deciding to open up their borders once more. So while you plan your next overseas vacation, let's take a look at some incredible bucket list ideas that you'll want to include for maximum enjoyment. Number 1. The Great Pyramid of Giza. With everything from incredible food to historical accounts of past rulers, visiting Egypt is an absolute must for those of you out there with wanderlust. And if you do end up visiting the Jewel of Africa, be sure to cross off the Great Pyramid of Giza from your bucket list. For those of you who don't know, the pyramid was built a grand total of 5,000 years ago, making it one of the oldest man-made structures still standing. It is also the biggest of any of the pyramids you'll see in the surrounding area and is considered by travelers to be the last remaining structure standing of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. To some, the Great Pyramid of Giza tells the story of how our ancestors went on to treat their dead kings and stands as an incredible show of human engineering and ability in the days before cement and cranes. To others, the Great Pyramid means something otherworldly, with some conspiracy theorists still believing that ancient aliens were the ones to actually help humanity in constructing this incredible feat. And while there is next to no evidence to prove this theory, it must be said that the pyramid does appear to be star-aligned, which is a curious fact. Regardless of what you believe though, the Great Pyramid of Giza will certainly leave you breathless, along with the vast open wilderness that can be found surrounding it. Number 2. The Great Wall of China. And while we're on the topic of the greats, we can't forget about the Asian equivalent of ancient building prowess. We are, of course, referring to the Great Wall of China, which can be found in the Hairu district in Beijing. The Great Wall is currently one of the 7 wonders of the world and comprises a number of fortifications that were built across the historical northern borders of ancient Chinese states and Imperial China as a method of protecting against the invading nomadic groups. As such, the Great Wall is not just an incredible indication of how impressive our ancestors were when it came to building, it's also a display of Chinese history, which is rich with mysticism and drama. In other words, while walking the wall, you'll be able to catch up with everything that it meant at the time and has come to mean since then. The historical story of the Great Wall, accompanied by incredible views that can be seen while resting on it, are a brilliant combination and will have you feeling more than content when you end up leaving at the end of the day. And if you consider yourself to be more of an active person who still wants to bask in the beauty of the wall, be sure to head on over to Beijing in late September. This is when the monumental Great Wall Marathon takes place, a bucket list item that all runners will want to complete at some point or another. At number 3, the City of Petra. Indiana Jones fans will love the next location on our list, which just so happens to be the rose-colored sandstone city of Petra, an extraordinary site that can be found in the beautiful region of Jordan. And funny enough, although the archaeological site is now considered to be one of the 7 wonders of the world, it was relatively unknown before it was made famous by its appearance in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. In other words, the ancient relic, which has been hidden away in the vast mountains of the Dead Sea, is not just for those who want to bask in the brilliance of our past, it also serves as an incredible set to visit for those cinephiles out there who want nothing more than to visit the greatest regions in film history. Regardless of which group you fall into though, you'll be surprised at just how incredible Petra looks to the naked eye. Carved directly from the sandstone mountains surrounding it and consisting of a selection of temples, tombs, and a massive monastery that simply cannot be missed. It's your only chance to actually live and breathe from within the confines of a mountain. So go ahead and book your ticket. At number 4, the Colosseum. Another of the 7 wonders makes it onto our list in the form of the Colosseum, Rome's ancient sporting ground where gladiators would fight to the death with the intention of winning the crowd over and earning their freedom. It's a horrible pastime of ours, especially considering how strong men were kidnapped or bought in an attempt to keep the Colosseum filled to the brim with gladiators, but the architectural brilliance of the venue should never be forgotten. It is by far one of the most exciting sights that Rome has to offer, and can now be found under the same name of the Flavian Amphitheater. The most surprising thing about the Colosseum is that it remains the largest amphitheater ever built, which is saying something considering the crazy amount of building power humans have today. Remember, the ancient relic was built back in 70 AD and served to house the majority of the Roman population. The fact that it's still standing after all of its use is nothing short of incredible. So if you wanted to be left breathless by Roman architecture that has a solid story to tell, look no further than the Colosseum. And be sure to take your camera with you, as you'll definitely want a selfie in front of its huge entrance. At number 5, the ancient and lost city of Machu Picchu. Those of you who prefer the ancient history connected to the Mayans and Incas, on the other hand, will prefer the solitary trek up to the lost city of Peru, otherwise known as Machu Picchu. This Inca citadel was hidden for centuries due to the fact that it was built on the high peaks of the Urubamba River mountain range. So it goes without saying that travelers will only be able to reach this destination by hiking to the top. The journey is most certainly worth it though, the tourist being treated to one of the most incredible sights still available to see. Standing on the highest peak, you'll be able to bask in the incredible ruins that have been left behind by one of the most brilliant and scientifically inclined cultures the world has ever seen before. It really is a sight to be seen, with the journey up the mountain leaving lots of time for self-reflection and exploration. Suffice to say, if you've been planning on visiting South America sometime in the future, this relic of Peru is definitely something that should be added to your bucket list. At number 6, seeing Christ the Redeemer in action. Another South American wonder can be found on the top of Mount Corcovado, overlooking the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro. We are of course talking about the incredible statue known as Christ the Redeemer, which stands as a symbol of protection with outstretched arms over the Christian city below. That being said, you don't have to be religious to enjoy the intricacies of its design and incredible sights that surround it. Like Machu Picchu, Christ the Redeemer can only be reached by hiking to the top of the mountain, but it must be said that this hiking trail is fairly easy to accomplish and can be completed by the weakest of hikers. Getting to the top will reward you with some of the most impressive views you've ever seen before, and that's just us talking about the city and its surrounding bodies of water. Christ the Redeemer as one of the 7 wonders of the world, on the other hand, is even better. The fact that this is one of the most recognized and photographed monuments in Brazil speaks for itself, so be sure to take as many pictures as you can when you finally get there. At number 7, we have Stonehenge. Another wonder of the world is Stonehenge, which finds itself as the next location on our list because of the exceptional mystery that the region has been masked in. Although some might look at the location and think it's composed of nothing but rocks, the scientifically inclined will know just how important this structure is for our modern understanding of building. Located near the city of Salisbury in England, Stonehenge is a site that was built around 5,000 years ago from stones that would have taken a country of men to move from the site of their origin. Like the Great Pyramid of Giza, there have been quite a few conspiracy theories created about Stonehenge over the last couple of decades, mostly due to the fact that nobody really knows what the purpose of the rock formation was. A meeting place for the occult? A monument left by ancient otherworldly builders? That's the question that will be floating around your mind when you take in the amazing sights that Stonehenge presents you with. And if you aren't a fan of mystery, you'll still be impressed by the red hue that can often be seen in the sky during sunrise and sunset, which makes for an artistic comparison when set against the brown of the rocks and green of the surrounding grass. It's really no wonder that Stonehenge was made one of the 7 wonders of the world. At number 8, wine under the Eiffel Tower. Last but not least, we had to add a little bit of romance to our list. And what better way to jumpstart your romantic side by visiting the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. Considered to be one of the greatest and most recognizable buildings in the history of the world, the Eiffel Tower actually formed the principal showing of the Paris exhibition of 1889, where it was constructed to remember the bloodshed of the unfortunate French Revolution. While many tourists from all over the globe end up visiting the Eiffel Tower and drinking magnificent wine in the region of Paris, it's unfortunate that not many do so at the same time. To make your visit special then, be sure to grab some wine and kiss under the incredible tower. You'll definitely want this memory with your loved one before another pandemic prevents us from doing so again.